Alright, we are live. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris and this is my channel, Barn on 11970. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say, and hopefully you will be able to listen to this video with an open mind, because my channel definitely grows, goes in different directions. I basically will think of a topic of what I think is important at the moment, and just without any planning, just go with it. I don't write any script, I don't write any idea of what I'm going to talk about, I just go. And there are a few people that appreciate it, and if you're one of them, thank you so much. Today is July 5th, 2017. Hopefully everybody had a happy and safe 4th of July. Whether you celebrate it or not, or know the deeper meanings behind these things, that's not the topic of this video. It's currently 5:31 p.m. And as I promised, I want to make sure I give a couple of shout-outs, a couple of people that decided to join my Patreon account. So Sherry, I'm just going to say the first names. Sherry, I wanted to give a shout-out to, Robert J., and Marianne. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for joining, and let's get into this video. Now, if you see the last video I did a video on the flat earth, and it wasn't about whether I believe in it or not. It was about the fact that there are distractions in this world that are very good at gathering up our emotions and taking the negative parts of our emotions and using our passions and our beliefs against us. And you could see my average thumbs down these days is maybe anywhere from 3 to 4 per video, not a lot. And the last video I did had over 12 thumbs down, which is not the majority, which I'm happy to see. But if you see some of the comments, they were very angry. And a lot of it proved to me that most people didn't watch the video, they just based it on the title. Now, this is the point I want to make towards people. If you want to reach higher levels of vibration, in other words, reaching towards enlightenment. Now, obviously, I'm not anywhere close to that, but each level I go up, I am one step closer, and the same goes for you. It's not a transformation that can happen overnight. It's like going to school. You don't go kindergarten one day to a college graduate the next. There are levels to go through. The problem is we become very impatient, especially in this world, where the more you know, the more you get concerned about the future of yourself, your family, this planet, and emotions can run strong. Now, unfortunately, there are plenty of smart people out there that love to take advantage of your emotions. And we have to get ourselves to understand the fact, and I always say understand because it all comes from within, is that emotions are learning tools. The more you pay attention to them and focus on them, the more you can get to realize what the meaning is behind them, so you can keep progressing to another level. Now, the biggest problem is with negative energies, like, for example, anger, jealousy, hatred, fear. These are all lower vibrations, and they are very easy to get stuck in. And that's why you could see people that, especially in this day and age, there's hardly any more debate anymore. Either people agree, and they'll agree wholeheartedly, which is a mistake, because you should never agree with anyone 100% blindly without listening to the information, because it may be incorrect, it may be a lie, it may be just something that you don't agree with. And you see this, for example, like with the president. There are plenty of people that don't like him, there are plenty of people that do like him. You can't hate him for 100% of what he does, and you can't like him for 100% of what he does. The people that pay attention to what's really going on will pick and choose what they resonate with, and taking the best out of a current situation, current event, current individual example, and using that to help you to grow. And if you notice, there are plenty of people that stay very angry. And why do they stay angry? Well, it has to do with their passion and their belief. And that is why I used the flat earth as an example the other day. Not to try and rile people up, but to show people that a person's passion can actually enslave them and trap them into a lower vibrational state. Because instead of people communicating and say, here, this is my point, there's people who will just get angry. And the only people you hurt are your own. And it's yourself that you hurt. because emotions are there to teach you something. And if you continually do the same thing over and over again and experience the same emotion over and over again, it means you're not progressing. So that is why when I made that video, it wasn't trying to make fun of flat earthers or make fun of people that don't believe in flat earth. It was about the fact is, if you look at the grand scheme of what's happening on this planet, regardless of the cage that you're in, it doesn't matter the shape. It should matter the fact that you are in a cage. And the idea is to get yourself out. You have to have a plan. You have to know your surroundings. You have to research things. You have to grow. You have to advance. Being in prison and just studying the shape of your prison cells does nothing to get you out. Educating yourself, bettering yourself, gives you a better opportunity. So that is what I want people to focus on, especially here. And my channel is not going to be one of those that's all fancy, and I don't have millions of dollars to have all commercials and all fancy equipment. This is all about an individual who has passion, who is learning slowly from his mistakes and wants to share them with those that resonate with it. So if you're going through different emotions, don't hide them, because we're always taught to, suck in your gut, hold it in, big boys don't cry. And if you show any emotion, there will be people who will attack you and make fun of you. Now, to me, that was one of my hardest experiences on YouTube to deal with, especially in the beginning when I was nowhere near where I am now and the levels that I'm at. To me, I was always being attacked by people, and some people were just making fun of me just because, they thought it was funny, and I was taking it very seriously. And then it got to the point where it got worse and worse, and there were some individuals that flat out wanted to hurt me and my family because they contacted my phone, they contacted my family, and I've even gotten death threats. So I was dealing with these negative emotions. But what I learned over the years is, it's not about them that is doing it. It is about me understanding why it's happening and why I react the way I react. Because whether I react positively or negatively will determine of the continuation of what was causing my response. And if I learned from it, then there's no need to proceed with that same thing over and over again. It's like going to school for the first time and learning that 1 + 1 is 2. Well, you don't learn that in first grade and second grade and third grade and college, because once you learn it, you progress to learn something more. So there's no need to go back and deal with something that has already happened and something that you learned from. So it's the same thing with your emotions and how you deal with them. And the problem in this day and age is there are people all around the world, and I still have this, you still have this, we all still have this, is our ego. Depending on how much we let our ego control us, we feel that we are maybe better than people just because we understand more, or know more, or have more fiat currency. There's so many different levels, and if we let the ego take us over, then our emotions will always be controlled because we're holding on to whatever belief system we have with no ears to listen to alternative points of view in an adult fashion. So that's why when I talk about things like the flat earth, I'm not going to sit here and say I know either way. We've been told it was round. It could be flat. The point is, I can't prove it because I don't have the ability to leave this planet to view it. But what I say is, I focus more on the fact that this planet is being controlled by people who are destroying it, who are taking away our freedoms, and that makes us angry. And the problem is, like they say, you only hurt the ones you love. And other people in this movement, just because they may disagree with you, doesn't mean they're not on the same path as you. They're just finding a different direction to go to the same place. And that is harmony and unity. And if we continue to fight amongst ourselves because somebody else's vision is a little bit off of yours, well, we're now focusing on our energy to stop each other's path instead of continuing to move forward. So we ultimately hurt ourselves. And that is why the news is always negative. That's why there's always Hollywood making you feel like you're not good enough because you're not as beautiful as they are, even though they use all their money to change their body and their physique. And it's very easy to be healthier when you have lots of fiat dollars to be able to spend time to go working out. The average person doesn't have that, but it makes you feel inferior. That all of these celebrities have millions of fans and people who care about every word they say, while people like you and I are barely heard. But here's the thing. To me, would I love millions of people to listen to what I have to say? Absolutely. But my point is if I have one person, let me know if that helps. I just turned something. I don't know if that increased the volume or not. Let me know if that went up or down. Unfortunately, there's not much I can control about that because YouTube loves to mess with my audio. I'll try and work on it a little bit more. So let me know if it went lower or higher. Can anybody do that in the comment section? Because you kind of threw me off here. Alright, so anyway, no one's responding. But my point is, I would rather have 10 to 20 people listen to what I have to say and help themselves improve in some way than to have millions of people listening to me that don't really care what I have to say. And they're just here because, oh, this is a popular channel, or this is a popular person, or this is a popular idea, and I just want to be a part of it. And that's the following mentality. That's the ego talking. Because when you learn through your mistakes, you learn to become stronger and become better. But we focus so much on the emotions, we don't sit there and say, well, for example, when I was getting attacked and made fun of all the time, it helped to teach me how to be more in control of my emotions. How to know that true strength comes from facing adversity. How do you learn to be brave if you've never had fear? How do you learn to be strong if you've never had moments that make you weak? And we tend to be taught that these are bad things, that we need other people to take care of us. And that's why throughout the world we have governments where they don't really take care of us other than giving us a few scraps of their, leftovers. They're not here to help improve the planet. They're here to tax us and make us work for them. And yet we still, quote unquote, vote them in and accept them as our rulers, as our leaders. My question is, why do we need that? And I'll give you a prime example. I don't have any government welfare programs. I don't want them. I work for a living to earn what I can so I can put food on the table. I don't have enough property to create a garden and a farm, so I have to work with what I have. But I don't see it as a weakness because I can take any opportunity and try and improve it. And you can too. So if you're facing adversity and you're going through emotions, sit there and ask yourself, is this emotion keeping you grounded? Is it keeping you stagnant? Are you angry at all the other people having a different right to a view, a point of view, a concept, a thought, an opinion? Why is it that some people are so angry because somebody else's opinion is different? Because if you know anything about the universe, everything is truth. Whether you agree with it or not, everything is truth. If a person is being truthful to what they believe and what they say. Because 1,000 people can look up at the sky and 1,000 people can see 1,000 different things. That doesn't mean they're wrong because they have a different point of view or a different perspective or a different vision. So there's a method to my madness when I do videos like I did the last time. So if you are somebody that's stuck in an emotion that's negative, whether you're depressed or you're angry or you're jealous or you're frustrated, it's because you're not paying attention to something that's trying to send you a message so you can learn from it and better yourself. And the problem is, it requires work, it requires effort, it requires patience sometimes. But in this world, we're always taught, oh, it's not your fault. Or if you need help, go seek counseling or go seek somebody else's ability to help you. And we become complacent and we become lazy. The beautiful thing about free will, and I've said this so many times, is you can do the right thing, the wrong thing, or nothing. That's up to you. So if people want to spend their life being angry and upset because somebody else is trying to enlighten themselves through their own experience, and it tends to differ from yours, so you automatically assume that because it's different it's wrong, then the only person that's being stagnant is you. That's why now I don't really focus on other people unless it's to create a learning lesson that I can learn from. I am sure there are still people that don't like me. I'm sure there are people who will still make fun of me. The difference is I don't pay attention anymore and give them my energy. Because I cannot control it. Whether I laugh at their jokes or cry at their jokes, they're still the same jokes. So what am I changing? By yelling at them or giving it right back to them. We fall into those traps all the time because the ego says we need to be, seeking revenge. We need to let somebody else feel how they made us feel. Well, if we do that, then how are we any better than the perpetrators who started it? And that is why I've always talked about the fact that, yes, there are governments that always threaten war. We've had war throughout the millenniums. But yet, if we want to murder them or hurt them, how are we any better? The idea is to find a better way. And that is why, throughout the ages, we've done nothing but war and protests and riots. And we may have a moment or two in history, a brief moment or two in history, where we do have some peace and quiet, but it doesn't last because nothing changes when it's temporary. And we keep going back to the same thing over and over again. And there are people who will take advantage of your emotions. And you're going to have them. I have my days when I feel depressed. I have my days when I feel very angry and frustrated. There are days I'll see other people's, lives and be jealous. It's okay. What it's not okay is to get stagnant and complacent on them and use them as a crutch so you have an excuse to not better yourself so everybody can pat you on the back and say, poor you. If you want to change the world, the only thing that's stopping you is you. And if you make excuse after excuse, well, that's your choice. But don't complain if you decide to not give your all to make your world a better place. We can either make excuses or we can make efforts. And like Kaleem just said, 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 lefts do. So if you're experiencing a lot of a certain emotion right now, and they tend to be more negative these days. Why? Because the negativity makes you pay attention, and if you can overcome it, it makes you stronger. So it's not really a bad thing. It's only a bad thing if you don't pay attention to it. If you've ever seen a race where there's hurdles, where they have to jump, if you don't jump, you can't finish the race. It takes effort. And like I've said in other videos, you have free will, but so does everybody else. So they have the free will to hurt you and stop you and do things that you think is unfair or something you wouldn't do to them. And what we tend to do is focus on why would they do that to us instead of saying, what can I do to make sure that doesn't affect me the same way ever again? How do I better myself to never be in that position? That's why I've always said, think of evil as a snake and you as a bird. Well, if the snake can convince you to lay down on the ground, he's going to be in reach to eat you. But if you soar high above, it doesn't matter what he says or she says, you're out of reach. But if they can make you mad and make you go down and confront them, or convince you that, oh, I'm here to save you, come here and trust me, I'll be your best friend, well, you pay the price if that person's, motives were impure or wrong. Soar high, my friends. And let the people below be jealous. Let the people below make fun of you. Let the people below be angry. That is for them to deal with. If you let it affect you, then they've won. That is the whole purpose of trolls and negativity and angry, hateful people, because they don't want to fix their lives, because if they did, they wouldn't be angry all the time. So instead, like they say, misery loves company. They want to bring you down to their level so they don't feel so alone. True strength is not in numbers. True strength is being alone, facing those numbers, and still standing tall, because they need the numbers to create the same energy that you can by yourself. It's just sometimes you forget that. And if you're listening to this, maybe you needed to be reminded, so you brought yourself here for a reason. And Samantha says, bullies. Bullies love to torment because they themselves are tormented. Who knows? Some people just do it for fun, but they can only bully you if you allow it. These days, most bullies are doing things on the internet. You know, in my day as a bully, if they wanted to pick on you in school, they would throw a book at you, or they would punch you, or they would trip you, and you had to face them. Nowadays, it's just, most of the time, it's people saying rude, nasty things on a comment section or hitting a thumb down. So if you really think about it, it's a lot better than the way it used to be. Dealing with bullies is a lot easier because there's a thing called the block button. You couldn't do that if you were in high school. Just imagine if there was a block button, if a bully wanted to come up and beat you up and take your lunch money. And you just hit a block button and he couldn't do it. But we make it into such a big deal because some people do go overboard. Like I said, I had people post out my personal information. I had people not only calling and threatening me, but they called my family members. Said nasty things about my wife, and I mean nasty things. And they found it funny. But that's on them. I forgive them. And there were people that made fun of me that I don't know what their true motives are. But now I no longer care, because back then, when I didn't know what I know now, I always wanted to know, well, why are they doing this? What did I do to make them do this? Because in my life, I didn't deal with that, with the real world, quote unquote. And you notice a lot of the things like on the news and on a lot of these drama channels, or the ones like Alex Jones always talking about the negativity and the FEMA camps, how we're all going to die. Look out your window. Do you see most of this stuff going on in your part of your world? I sure hope not, because where I live, I've met a total of a group of transgenders who used to go to one of my karaoke nights. I don't know how many of them actually were, but I know at least 2 were. And they were some of the friendliest, nicest people I've ever met. And they knew that I didn't agree with their lifestyle. But I didn't have a problem with it. I just didn't agree with it. And we were friends. And as a matter of fact, when one of my laptops broke, they actually volunteered for free to fix it for me. But yet, if you listen to the internet, you'd think, oh, well, if you disagree with a transgender, all of a sudden you're going to have thousands of people marching at your door and, you know, trying to kill you or whatever. We believe in whatever we want, but we manifest what we believe in. So that's why when I talked about the flat earth, I didn't talk about whether I believed it or not. I just talked about the fact that focusing on one particular aspect when there are bigger things in life that are holding us down is not the best way to fly. So I'm going to keep this video relatively short. And as usual, I want to thank people for taking the time to comment, for taking the time to listen, whether you're watching this live or you're watching it days, weeks, or months later. I always appreciate those that come here for the right reasons. And a quick shout out I also want to do to Heather. She asked me if she could mirror some of my videos, and she wants to do a video response to why she agrees and disagrees, and that's perfectly fine. So whether you're always going to agree with people sometimes, you're always going to disagree with people sometimes. That doesn't make them good or bad. Their actions make them good or bad. Because remember, there are plenty of people who are trying to figure out what's going on in this world, and they have to have certain levels that they have to go through. Just like a death, you have to go through different levels of emotion. You know, some people may be already at acceptance, while some people are just going through the grieving period. That doesn't make them wrong because they're on a different level than you. Or it doesn't make them better or worse because they're at a different level than you. Just like the only difference between a kindergartner and a college professor is a college professor has already been through what the kindergartner is just about to start. And one day that kindergartner will be the college professor. And there will be somebody that wasn't even in existence before the kindergartner got to first grade that is now in the place where they are now. The idea is we are allowed to believe in whatever we believe in, but we should never believe in something to the point where we have no ability to change our belief or think in a different way or listen to other people's points of view. And that is one thing that I will always do, is listen to the points of view that other people represent, whether it's crazy or not. Because like they say, truth is stranger than fiction. And you never know, from the most crazy source that you would have ignored many times in your life, all of a sudden you decide, you know what, let me listen to what this individual or this person or this idea is all about. And you learn only 1% that grows in your own life of 99% of what they've said. Then you've gotten something beneficial. But don't just rah-rah somebody because you like them and to say, oh, because I like them, I'm going to believe everything they say, or I'm going to agree with everything they say. It's okay to disagree. That's what this world is about. That's what debate is all about. That's how we learn. It's the coming together of ideas. But nowadays they want you to separate, because if you don't think the same way somebody else does, then there's something wrong with you. And I hope that this world doesn't turn out to be true in that aspect. Because then everybody will disagree with everybody and hate each other because we're not all one being. You know, if we want to go back to the source, then that's one thing. But that's love and light. But until that time, we're here to experience whatever it is on this planet we're here for. That means we're here for a reason. If we learn and grow through our experiences, then they're not coincidental. They happen for a reason, which means there's a purpose. Everybody on this planet has a purpose. Just free will can keep you from ever finding it, or ever caring about it, or even knowing it exists. And Emmett says, what's your passion and what's your purpose? Well, my purpose is to be here to experience whatever it is I'm here to experience and learn whatever I can learn. My passion is my ability to speak. And who knows, tomorrow I might have a different passion. My passions will constantly change. Follow your highest joy, you will always go in the right direction. But sometimes your passion could fizzle out, just like a relationship. How many people have met somebody at one point in their life and said, oh, this is the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, or this is my soulmate, only break up a month or two later, or a year or two later, or a decade or two later? Things change. People grow. Sometimes people are in your life just for a moment because they're there to help you progress to another level. And then we hold on to some of them for fear of letting go. Pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention to your passions. Ask yourself, is my ego so strong that's prohibiting me to hear other people's points of view because it challenges my own? There are many ways to control people, and the strongest way is through their emotions. That's why this world is full of fear, full of hate. That only controls you if you allow it. So if you want to reach a higher level, then start learning to fly. And if today's day one, congratulations on the first part of your journey. Don't give up. It's like working out. You could work out for 50 years and be in the greatest shape for those 50 years. Once you stop, you start to lose it. So it's work. It's endless work. But if it's fun, it's not work. Because like they say, do what you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life. So find your passion and understand that your passion may be temporary, or you may get to another passion. You may skip to another level. Don't hold on to something just because it's familiar, because then how can you say you're strong if you're too afraid to fly? And you can do whatever you want. If you want to be rude and obnoxious and use your joy to make fun of other people, well, that's a horrible way, in my opinion, to spend your life. But if you view that's something that makes your life better, well, congratulations, it's your choice. So if somebody's making fun of you, it only hurts if you allow it, because it's basically somebody else's opinion. Even if they're flat out lying. I've had plenty of people flat out lie about me. Take things out of context. That's on them, not me, because I've grown and they've still stayed the same angry people. Some of them have lots of money, some I don't know. The thing is, I stopped caring about people that don't matter and started focusing on the few that do. That's why I can have my channel totally suppressed by YouTube and have almost 40,000 subscribers, and this video will probably have 600 people listen to it, maybe 700, on a good day 800, so not even 1%. But the few that listen, that if this helps them, then how can I call it anything but a success? My ego would want to have millions of viewers and millions of subscribers. But I don't let my ego take control of me as I once did, that I felt like I needed to be so important. I'm just here to spread my point of view. You could resonate with it, you could not resonate with it. You could take one thing out of it, you could take 90 things out of it. It's my free gift to you to make that decision all on your own. I ask for nothing in return. And Samantha says, don't let people break you. Well, what if they try and break you and you don't allow it and you become stronger from it? The idea is, don't always view negative things that come to you as bad things, because it could be a push in the right direction that you needed for us to get off our butts to go in another direction. It's okay to be broken, because you could fix it. And you can learn through the experience, I don't ever want to feel that way again. So sometimes it's okay for people to break you, but it's not okay to stay down if you want to progress to another level. And Stellahead says, would you get emotional if you got 1 million subs? Honestly, to me, it's just a number, because it doesn't matter how many subscribers I have. It's how many people learn from my voice. Like I said, I have about almost 40,000 subscribers, and my average view count on each video is about 800 views. So if I had 1 million subscribers, that would mean my videos would probably go up to 3,000 views. So I don't worry about things like that. I worry about the message. So if you have bad things in your life and you're going through emotions, just realize that's what they are. It's a learning lesson to progress to another level if you pay attention from it and if you learn from it. If you choose not to out of your own ego, you're going to keep repeating the process, and it's going to get worse and worse until you have no choice. But that's free will for you. So I could believe in things you could totally think is crazy. But if they resonate with me, then that to me is all that matters. And the same with you. This day and age, everybody's so worried about everybody else liking them and everybody else following them and everybody else believing what they have to say. I have only 22 people listening to this right now live. Out of 40,000, almost 40,000 subscribers, currently 22 people are watching. Do you think I care about that? The only reason I would even remotely care is because if it helps more people by getting more people to listen, then that means I'm doing more good. But like I said, if I have one person that benefits, I still did a successful video. So fly if you want to fly. Don't let the snake convince you to go down to his level, because he'll yell at you, he'll curse you, he'll threaten you, he'll make you feel scared. And he might have a bunch of his friends around him trying to convince you to get down to his level. They may all pretend, oh, we're sorry, we'll be your friend. just come on down and play with us. That's your choice. You're never going to reach another level and soar high if you're afraid to fly, and you let others keep telling you to put your feet down on the ground and stay, you got to stay strong. You got to keep both feet firmly on the ground. You got to stay grounded. Well, yeah, if you don't want to fly. But the beautiful thing is, once you understand that, because you have wings, you can fly. And you could fly again and again and again until you get higher and higher and higher, to the point where you are so far higher than the snake that you don't even know he exists anymore. The idea is to no longer care about what is negative in your life. If you love eating apples, and one day you have a bad apple that you ate, it was rotten, or there was a worm in it, that doesn't mean from now on that's what's going to be your experience every time. But if you let it ruin something that you loved from one bad experience, well, you're only hurting yourself, because if you love apples and one bad experience kept you from ever wanting to eat them again, well, who's being hurt? The apple or you? So, as usual, I make very long videos, and I actually find it astonishing that I could literally just come up with a title and have almost a 40-minute conversation. I hope you appreciate it, and if you don't, well, then I would wonder why you were listening for 36 minutes. Most people don't, because the average view time is about 6 minutes long. But for those 6 minutes, I appreciate you. If you listen to the whole thing, put it in the comments section. If you like listening to my words, keep listening. If this is your first time, subscribe. I have a Patreon account if you'd like to join it. And other than that, if you want to check out my Orgone pyramids, check out the link in the description. There's a web store. I also make organic soaps and things like that. It helps put food on my table. There are some that for some reason have a problem with it, but hey, I'm not here for them. So thanks for listening. I hope you all have a great night, and thank you for taking the time to hear what I have to say. Have a great day.